This video is a quick demonstration of how I've been setting up the SEC110 sensing cam and demoing it to customers. And I've been triggering it with an MPB10 vibration sensor, but just using the shock output. It's really nice to be able to use this setup in front of customers because it's kind of, you're talking about two different products at once. So as far as bill of materials of what I have a power supply that's plugged into the wall here, and it's got an M12 connection on the other end. That is connected to the bottom end of a Y splitter, and that Y splitter has a silver connection and a gold connection. The silver connection will be connected to your SEC110. The gold connection will have to go to your trigger sensor, in this case the MPB10. That's really important. If you get that mixed up, you will not be able to trigger the device. So it'll still power up if you put the SEC110 on the gold, but it will not trigger it if you have these mixed up. So SEC110 has to be on this silver connection. So I just have the shortest M12 double-ended cable I could get, and then the other side for the MPB10 doesn't need an extra cable. You can always put an extender cable on there if you want to, but because of the pigtailed M12, you don't need to. And then the SEC110 part number, and then also the Ethernet cable. I mean, we probably have a ton of different options for Ethernet cables. This is just one of the smallest ones, shortest ones, and usually in stock. So that's the bill of material. The first thing that I'll need to do is configure the MPB10. So I have it open on Sopus right now. Let me go online with this device. Read parameters. So as soon as I'm online, I'm going to open up the configuration file. Pull it over so you can see it. And then I have no idea how this thing was configured before, so I always recommend doing a factory reset at the top right. Resets all the settings. So the first thing you want to do once it's reset is go to process data. The MPB10 has two discrete outputs. One's on pin 4, one's on pin 2. You need the one on pin 4. The two bits here that are grayed out are what is pointing to those discrete outputs. So if I go to process data user definition, I want to change bits. What did I say that was? 6 and 7. So I'm going to deactivate everything else and just do 6 and 7 and make those group alerts shock. You really only need one because you're only going to need pin 4, but I never remember which of these two bits points to pin 4, so I just do both as a shock output. For demo purposes, it doesn't really matter if both of them are set, so I just leave it that way. So once that's set, and again, everything else is deactivated, just bits 6 and 7 are group alert shock. Then I'm going to go to general device settings, and down at the automatic alert reset timer, I'm just going to make that 2000. So that's 2 seconds, basically 2000 milliseconds. It's going to reset the output. If I don't do that, then the shock event, the output will stay on, and you won't be able to trigger it again. So make sure that you do that automatic alert reset. And then I'm going to go into the shock output and just make this something. You can leave it at 10. It's super sensitive, so I typically just do it at 50. And then that's it. So now I can X out of this, X out of Sopus completely, and then bring over a new tab, go to my SEC110. So unplug from my SI link box, and then plug this into the gold port. Okay, so once that's plugged in, now I'm connected to the SEC110, and notice first of all that the screen is upside down. I can click on this check box. Actually, I need to log in. So I typically just log in service because it gives you options for everything. Password is service level, all lowercase, no spaces. And then now I can come here and flip the screen. So now I'm right side up. So in order to do this, let's just go through these settings. We don't need this. If you want to show the current time, you can always just click apply computer time. If a customer has an NTP server where they can point devices, Ethernet devices to adjust the time, you can set that up. But for demos, I just leave that off and just click apply computer time. And then I'm going to go to applications, and I'll leave snapshots off. You can kind of work with that, but I'll go to event videos, turn event video recording on, and then here's where you can change the time before signal and the time after signal. You can make this whatever you want, up to 40 seconds before and 40 seconds after. So I'll just do 3 seconds before, 3 seconds after. Leave everything else the same, and then event recording trigger. So once I turn that on, then I can say I want that on pin 2, and I don't want to invert the signal. So leave the invert signal off. So as soon as you smack the sensor on the table, it should trigger the event, is the idea. So I'm going to go into my events. I have nothing recorded. Go back to the main screen, and now let's just see if this works. So I'm going to put this in the area where the sensing cam can see it, and just smack it on the ground. That triggers it. Go to events, and it loads. Let's just open that up. So now there's the 3 seconds before, there's the event, there's 3 seconds after. You don't have to use this with an MPB10. You can use it with any sensor. Again, I just like to show it this way because it gives you an easy visual to show exactly when we wanted to trigger the device, but then also it gives you the ability to talk about 2 different technologies at once. So that's basically it. Let me know if you have any questions.